of my favorite things about the pack is all of the different drums. And although the drums are labeled hip-hop drums and some are orchestral drums, the best way to use them really is to put them all together. And that's how you can make unexpected drum loops. Not just so that you feel cooler that you're using random sounds, but it actually really is better. We're gonna go over some of the drum enhancers, some of the orchestral drums, and some of the loops. And I've prepared a project here using a song starter as a basis, and we're gonna build the drums around it. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start with this song starter that comes in the pack. Now, the first things that I've already added are a classic hip-hop stomp kick. Sounds like that. We should all be familiar with that. And on top of it, I have this orchestral drum. Now that adds a little bit of room. When I say what room is, you feel like suddenly you're in a little bit more of a three-dimensional space. It's because of the reverb, the decay on it. And next, we have this other orchestral drum. It has a slow attack, and what that does, and this is a great thing that's sort of unexpected when you're using drums that are a little irregular, they add groove. So instead of being right on the beat, this drum makes it feel a little bit lazy. You'll see what I'm saying. That's a lazy feel, whereas this would be a very tight feel and feel a little more forced. So yeah, this, it's a lot sharper and less smooth and groovy than this. Yeah, so that's what we get. It's sort of like an unexpected bonus that when you're using a variety of different sounds, some with slower attack, suddenly groove starts to find its way into your loop. Now, the thing that's really gonna start bringing this alive is to introduce loops. Of course, you could make loops on your own, but nothing's better than having instant inspiration. So we're just gonna drag in this ethnic drum loop, and it sounds like this. That's the first thing. So we add that, and already a drum sound like starts making your head do a little bit more of this, and less just boom, butcher. Now everything is gluing. To make it even more interesting, in the pack I have these things called action loops. And basically, these are any instrument doing something percussive. So it's a guitar, but in this case, instead of sounding like a guitar, it's really just hitting one note in a really percussive way, in a scratchy way. This. That's in there, it's called action loops. And I took it into Ableton, I put it on Beats mode. In Beats mode, you can control the transient, so it focuses mostly just on the transient, as you see I've done here. And now when we play it, does that, and then it goes twice as fast. Right? Now when we play it all together, now, you could have done that with hi-hats, but use the guitar. Not only is it way cooler for all of your geeky friends, but on it, it's just nicer to your ears than hearing all of that. You have all of these frequencies at your disposal as a producer, and sometimes the most mature thing is to not use some of them, because they're gonna be harsh. You create a certain world by not doing all that high stuff. You avoid that. Instead, you're using this guitar, and it feels just way groovier and soulful, more soulful, I guess is the word I'd use in a way. Already we've got a pretty cool loop, and just to go OD sort of for the purpose of this tutorial, I like to show you guys some of the Foley stuff that you can find in the effects section. We have this folder called Earth, Fire, Wind, and Water. We're gonna try and incorporate some of these natural elements into the beat. The first one that we're gonna use is fire. And that is the sound of maybe like a match burning, something like that. And then this is a match strike. You can use that. And those things are going to happen at the beginning of each 4 bars. So here. And then later. It's one more subtle. Like that. And then we're going to use a bathtub, which would sound sort of random on its own. Sounds like this. And we're going to use that at the end of the 4 bars. Then we're going to use this broken glass. We're going to use that on the 4th beat of every first bar. Okay? Now check it out when it comes together. I'll take out some of the instruments so you can just really hear those guys. Here's it just with the kick, and with the clap, and with the Foley. So again, we have fire in the beginning, and then we have a bathtub, fire, glass. This is just cool ear candy that makes it glue together, and you're like, what the hell is that? And you would never get this stuff if you just tried to put a hi-hat together and a snare. You just never get it. So anyway, here's where we're at in total. And the last thing is a cool fill at the end. As a producer, I think fills are sort of where you give people respect. When they do cool, kind of complex fills at the end, that's where you get to show off a little bit. And to show off in this case, I'm gonna use the beatboxing folder. There's tons of beatbox sounds, and we're gonna use it to make a fill at the end of it. So it's cool because it's something that's not really heard anywhere else in the loop. So it's a nice little treat at the end of the loop. The first thing that we have is little beatbox kick. Then we have open hi-hat. Next thing, little click, and then this little pop. And then this, which is like the Pharrell drop it like it's hot. That thing. Okay, and it all comes together like. And at the end of our loop, it's a nice little bonus. Again, to play it for you guys, with most of the stuff muted, it's like, and that's nice because as good as your loop may be, it's nice to give the listener something that's completely detached from it at the end, something to look forward to. So in total, we'll go over it, we'll play the whole loop. The different sections that we have are the stomp, where we use orchestra drums. We got a snare where we use the regular snare and orchestra stick. We got loops where we use the Indian drum loop, and we use guitar scratches, and we use just the transient of them, so real clicky, kind of chick, chick, chick. We got this hi-hat. We got Foley, which uses a bathtub, it uses fire, it uses glass breaking, and we use the human mouth finally for our fill. And all together. So there you have it. That's how you can make your drums more interesting with the help of Sounds of KSHMR Volume 3, available on Splice.